The Denver Broncos are in an absolute must-win scenario on Monday Night Football against the Cincinnati Bengals for multiple reasons. First and foremost, you simply just cannot afford to go 1-3 to start the season if you have playoff aspirations or even leftover aspirations maybe of making a run at some point at the division. But two, the strength of the opponent in Cincinnati, after taking a dive into who the Bengals have been in the first month of the season, I could make an argument, and I would make this argument, that this is the single most winnable home game left on the Denver Broncos schedule because of some circumstance, yes, surrounding Joe Burrow, there's no doubt. But only I think the Giants here in just a few weeks when they come to visit Denver are the only other candidate in terms of home games left on the season that is more winnable than this game against the Cincinnati Bengals. And I would say I would put the Giants in that category because if you put the Giants offense, defense, Bengals offense, defense all out on the table, the Giants defense is the best unit among those four. There'll be some uncertainty with Jackson Dart, but there's some real uncertainty with Jake Browning as well. So I would make the argument that Monday night's game against Cincinnati is a must-win. And after taking a dive into who the Bengals actually have been, I hope by the end of this video, you're agreeing with me. Before I start to get into that deep dive, guys, thank you so much for being here. It was 26 days ago I first started posting on this channel daily, had about 300 subscribers. It was a dormant channel. I posted once every 2 or 3 months. Now we're posting every day, and today we passed 700 subscribers. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Appreciate you guys so much. All right, let's take into a dive into the Cincinnati Bengals, okay? Who is this football team? Jake Browning, all right? You hear Jake Browning, well, he served as a starter in 2023 and went 4-3. We'll get into the context of that here in just a second. But first, Jake Browning so far this season in backup duty. Guys, he is leading the National Football League in interceptions, and he didn't play in week number 1. All right? He is literally leading the league in picks, yet he is 30th in attempts. This is not a good quarterback. Let's not build this thing up to something that it is not. Jake Browning, if he was a starter, would be a bottom 2 to 3 quarterbacks in the NFL right now. All right? And when you go back and look at the 2023 season when he had to fill in for those 7 games and he went 4-3, and you tip your cap to him. But there's context to how he got to 4-3. What is that context? Well, the first win was against Jacksonville, and Trevor Lawrence had to leave the game. And it was C.J. Beathard who came in that game and played the majority of that game. So there's win number 1 for Jake Browning. Win number 2, it was the Colts, and the starter was hurt. It was Gardner Minshew. That's win number 2, another backup. Win number 3 came against the Vikings. Kirk Cousins was not healthy. It was Nick Mullins who was the starting quarterback for the Vikings. That's win number 3. Win number 4, it was against the Cleveland Browns with Jeff Driscoll. So yeah, 4-3, but 4 for 4 were backup quarterbacks. That is an important detail that gets left out when you just look at the face value of his record when he had to fill in for that wholesale spot duty back in 2023. Here's another reason why I don't believe that the Bengals will come in here and win, and why I do believe this is a must-win. And there could even be some piling on down the backstretch of this game, the longer this game goes out. I think there's a talent disparity, and hopefully there's an execution disparity because the Bengals cannot run the ball. So not only is there a backup quarterback playing, they can't run it. All right? Chase Brown has been the most disappointing running back in the NFL in the first month of the season. 93 rushing yards, guys, on 47 attempts. Let that sink in. That is 2 yards a carry, okay? That's horrible. Against the Vikings, Chase Brown had 10 carries for 3 yards. You have to go back to 2019 to find that type of lack of production from any running back on any team. You literally have to go back years to find an inept running performance like Chase Brown had against the Minnesota Vikings. Furthermore, Brown, we talked about success rate a little bit earlier in the week, right? Chase Brown has the lowest success rate, 25%, of any running back with at least 15 carries this season. So the raw numbers stink. The advanced numbers stink. And going back to the year 2000, guys, that's almost 26 years ago, coming soon, 25 years ago, right? Chase Brown has the fewest rushing yards through 3 games of any running back to carry the ball 45 times. So not only are they one of the worst rushing attacks in pro football, it's one of the worst starting running backs through the first 3 games in decades. And you're going to come up against this Broncos defense. All right, let's take a dive into more numbers. Who are they offensively? The Bengals have the 27th ranked passing offense, 171 yards per game. That stinks. The rushing offense is dead last at 32nd. We just went through those numbers. Guys, they're averaging less than 50 yards a game. That's insane. That's psychotic. Scoring offense, 24th in the NFL, 19 points a game. Add it all up, what is the total offense for the Cincinnati Bengals? They are dead last, 32 in a league of 32. How about the defense? Maybe it's better there. The pass defense is giving up 240 yards a game. That ranks 27th in the NFL. The rush defense is giving up 119 yards a game. That is 22nd in the NFL. And this could be a big day for J.K. Dobbins because the Broncos are actually averaging 5.2 yards per carry. That is 5th best in the NFL. So Dobbins, Harvey, real potential to have game control in the second half of this puppy and have a field day on the ground. All right? The scoring defense is 26th in the NFL. Guys, they're giving up 30 a game. We knew coming into this season that this Bengals defense was bad. All right? They might be worse than we even anticipated. Total defense, all right, they're giving up 359 yards a game. That is the 25th mark in the NFL. They are B-A-D bad, all right? And what an opportunity for this Denver Broncos offense that has struggled, particularly in the pass game, to get right against the Cincinnati Bengals. All right? Zach Taylor, he is actually 2-0 against the Broncos. We remember that game last year in primetime. I believe it was a Saturday night that went into overtime. Sean Payton was playing for the tie, I thought, right? A tie would have got him into the playoffs. They messed around. They gave the Bengals the ball back. Bengals went down and scored. T. Higgins had 3 touchdowns that day. Tough day for Riley Moss. It is a payback game for the Broncos. But even more than that, it's just a get-right game at home against a team who doesn't get stops, who can't run it, and has a backup quarterback going. There is absolutely no excuses, and I tie it all the way back to the start of the video. That's why this is a must-win. That's why this is the most winnable home game left on the schedule. Guys, appreciate you being here. I humbly ask you, smash that subscribe button. Like this video. You know the algorithm loves that. And drop me those thoughts in the comments. Would love to interact with you there. That's enough from me today. You'll hear more from me tomorrow.